Can you see everything right now?
Yep.
I pull up the. All right.
Um, so I guess since we had an older kind of, template for a session going, we have the beginning message that says we'll take questions after the webinar, but we can just tell people at the beginning, just, please type your questions because I've enabled, people can ask questions. So.
Cool. Yeah, man, it said 72 people now.
I know.
74.
You okay with that?
We'll see. I wasn't expecting that many, so.
Well, I don't know. I'm just trying to do my job here.
It was my pretty face.
It was, indeed. I knew people would respond to the photo. Why wouldn't they, man?
No, but I've got my whole agenda here.
Yeah. Well, you also got the Big Willie style working for you, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we can start promptly at 1 if you want, or we can start early, whichever you feel.
Oh, so the minute you start, it lets people in?
Yeah.
Now, can they hear us, or are you controlling that also?
Oh, they can't hear us right now.
Oh, so even if you open it up, they still can't hear us?
No, we're in practice right now, so once I hit start, we'll be good.
But if you hit start, do I have to mute myself then, or can you still keep us not heard?
Yeah, you can. Usually what happens is I can mute myself. I can mute you if you want, but I mean...
No, I mean, do we have like our own voice channel?
No, we don't have that capability.
Okay, well then...
If you have anything you want to talk to me about, you can send stuff to organizers and panelists.
Okay, well then let's do it.
When you type. Okay, cool.
Muted.
Dude, you muted me.
Muted.
Hold on. How do I mute myself?
Oh, we don't need to mute each other. Don't worry. I'll make sure all the attendees are muted, though.
I just want to mute myself because my...
You're the one going to be talking.
So should I hit the start button?
No, I have that on my end. I can do that.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, I can mute me and you can ask me a question if you want and I can come off and stuff. I don't know, just people ringing bells around here in this office. I don't want it to ruin the webinar.
Cool.
Cool, man. All right, so you want to get it going or?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, cool, man. Awesome.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
everyone, this is Colin Burke with Aristotle. Thanks for joining us on this session today. My friend Will is here with me, and we're just kind of waiting for everyone else to file in. And we'll probably get started promptly around 1 o'clock, maybe a little later. But in the meantime, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Thanks.
All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is William Lebetkin. I'm Director of Account Management here at Aristotle. And today I'm going to go through and basically do a step-by-step top-level view of the best ways to get through the wonderful July filing season. It's going to be a couple different sections, starting off with some basic best practices all the way down to specific system messages. And then towards the end, we're going to open up for a couple questions. If your questions do not get answered, you can go ahead and call our support line or call your account manager. So regardless if you're filing on the 15th, the 20th, or the 31st this month, there's a lot of reporting being done in July. The very first thing I want to do, a lot of people have already probably been there, but I want to reacquaint everyone with the FEC website. It's actually a wealth of information, and I want to go over a couple different points that actually really can help out when trying to troubleshoot or go through and make sure you have all the correct information. The first part of the FEC website that's great is it actually is search, finance, reports, and data. Electronic filings. And when you go into the actual Canada record, it's nice because you can take a look and actually see previously filed reports. So for example, if your last report was your April quarterly, you could go back, click view, scroll down, and actually look at the numbers that you had filed previously. This is important when you're pulling the cash on hand from the close of period, and you're going to be putting that at the beginning of this reporting period. Some other information that's great on the FEC website, you can actually go and take a look at the reporting deadlines themselves. These can be found by going to Help with Reporting and Compliance, Find Information, and then Reporting Dates. From here you can take a look at quarterly, semi-annual, monthly, etc. One other great part to the FEC website is you can click on Filing Information, Electronic Filing, and it's going to go ahead and pull up the electronic filing portion of the website, specifically Help for Electronic Filers. Most common, you're going to go to validation errors. So if you're ever running your report and you get that black and white screen that actually goes through and says, here are the errors of your report, this would be a great place to start to kind of go through, take a look, and see what those errors are telling you to fix. Now from here, we're actually going to go into the 360 system. When you log in, a couple of points that'll help when you're running your reports. We're immediately going to see your upcoming reporting deadlines. As you can see, this can be for FEC Form 3, FEC Form 3X, or if some of you are following them, the semi-annual LD203 report. What's also useful in the dashboard is being able to take a look at financials. So if you need to look at disbursements this year, which if you're a semi-annual filer, that'll be great to say from the beginning to now, or even receipts broken down, this will be a great place to look also. The next step you'd want to do is to make sure that you've gone through and entered in any outstanding receipts and disbursements that fall into that time frame. Receipts, just like normal, you can go ahead and go to File, New Receipt. A window will open up. You'll be able to specify who the receipt was from, what type of receipt it was, and specifically in this situation, you can say the receipt is a check. If you need to put any disbursements in, it's the same process. File, New Disbursement. And from here, you can actually select the committee or the entity that you're going to be dispersing to. Now, one trick that I like to show all of my clients is our Cosmos database function. So we're going to click on this magnifying glass here. I'm going to select Political Committee. And for example, I'm going to type McCain. You'll notice on the results that the first three do not have an asterisk next to them, but all the entries underneath do in fact have an asterisk. That's actually our Cosmos database system. So if you were to look for a committee that you know you haven't given to yet, for example, Committee to Draft John McCain, you would simply double-click on the record, put in the proper amount, check number, any other relevant information, and the system's actually going to A, make the disbursement, but B, create the committee record for you. So you don't have to go in and add the C00 number, any of the address information, etc. All information from our Cosmos database is pulled directly from the FEC, from their Form 1 database. A quick note, some committees may actually use a different address than what they've listed on the Form 1. So when in doubt, always ask the committee specifically where they'd like the check sent to. Once you've made sure that you've entered in all of your receipts and disbursements, this can be a good point to go through and search and actually take a look at total numerical value of your financials. We offer a number of ways to do that. The first and easiest would be a search. Search, receipt search. You're going to be able to put in a date range here. So I could put in 01/01/2011 until today. I could specify what type of receipt I'm searching for. I'll say contributions. Click search. And the results are going to go ahead and pull up for me in a very easy to read format. What you're really looking for, though, is on the right side, you see your selection statistics. You'll be able to see the total amount, average amount, maximum, minimum. Any of these results can be exported at any time by clicking on Export Results, selecting an Excel file or a CSV file, click Export Records, and you can then manipulate the Excel file however you'd like. If you don't like working with Excel, we offer some canned reports that offer the same functionality. These can be found by going to Reporting, Financial Reports. I like to choose Transaction Report. This is nice because it doesn't actually have any of the special graphics or user interface the other ones do, so it tends to run a little bit quicker. Again, I'll select Type Contribution from Individuals. I want to be looking at the beginning of the year until today. You can specify the filing committee, the account, or if you're looking for a specific period. I want to look at a detailed report. This can be exported to HTML, XML, CSV, or PDF. I'll go ahead and do PDF. The report's going to open in a new window, and you'll be able to take a look at all the different transactions that came in during that period, as well as a grand total here at the bottom. The same thing would go for disbursements, in which case you could simply pick disbursements, committee, the same date range, and instead of all of your receipts, you'll be able to see specifically all the money going out and who the money went to. Once you've gone through, taken a look, make sure all your financials look secure, you can go ahead and run your actual report. All compliance reports can be found by going to Reporting, Compliance Reports. You'll see here filing authority defaults to FEC. As I mentioned earlier, if you're filing your LD-203 report, you'll click on Filing Authority, Lobby Disclosure, click on LD-203. You'll pick the appropriate filing committee as well as the bank accounts you want to be pulling from. You're going to want to pick the reporting period, July 30th mid-year. The date's pre-populated for you. You'll hit Generate Report, at which point the report's going to give you an XML output, and you can upload that to the LD-203 website. Now if you're going to want to run the Form 3 or the Form 3X, you'll select FEC Filing Authority, FEC Form 3X. You'll see the interface is very similar. You'll select the filing committee that you're going to be running from, the relevant bank accounts. Click Next. We're running the mid-year semi-annual. Again, we're giving your period start date and end date for you, your threshold start date, so any transactions are going to be pulling from that threshold, as well as the election date. Your threshold start amount that applies to your line 11 itemized and unitemized contributions. Anything that falls below that threshold is going to go ahead and not itemize. Anything above will itemize to the report. I mentioned earlier taking a look at the previous line 8 or the closing cash on hand for the committee. You're going to be putting that right here under cash on hand at the beginning of the period. And here you're simply going to put the total that you started with at the beginning of the year. Scrolling down, you're going to choose primary, as well as your relevant election state. For PACs, it's going to be wherever your Form 1 registered location is. There are a number of ways you can sort. I prefer to actually do name and state. You can make it, though, receipt date, then by name, or state, and then receipt date, whatever order is more comfortable for you. If you're a multi-candidate committee, this should already be checked off. If you don't know if you're a multi-candidate committee, you can go ahead and check with your analyst, and they can let you know, and you can check right here. Finally, if you're going to be amending a report, you can click on Amend Previous Report and actually file an amendment. I'll hit Next. By default, we cover all the schedules for you. We recommend leaving all schedules checked off. If there's no information that actually pulls to the schedule, it will not print to the report. In certain circumstances, you may wish to uncheck all the schedules except for maybe, let's say, 11A, 11B, 11C. If that's the case, please remember that the next time you run the report, you should check off all the schedules again so everything pulls correctly when you generate the report. On our settings page, you can check change of address to report to the FEC you've changed your address. We recommend you fill in empty occupation and empty employer with information requested. You can type miscellaneous text to your analyst. That's going to go ahead and appear as a memo text underneath the summary page. You can group payroll contributions. This can be handy for corporate packs, especially on a semi-annual report when you have a lot of transactions pulling. It can usually cut your report in half. And what that's going to do is if someone's been given payroll deductions over a specific period, it's going to aggregate them into one itemized entry. Finally, you're going to leave auto-generate 11A totals on, and that's going to go ahead and generate your itemized and unitemized numbers. It's important to note, though, when you run your report, if you happen to think there may be any reason why the itemized numbers do not look correct, remember you can always uncheck here, look at your previous report, and actually enter in these totals here and see if there's something wrong with the data or specifically something wrong with the way that it's totaling. At this point, you'll hit Generate Report. As with the rest of 360, all this is going to happen server-side. You won't have to worry about using any third-party or FEC load programs to be able to actually generate the report. The results panel is going to pop up. It's going to say right here the file is generated successfully but contains validations, errors, or warnings. If you want to go ahead and take a look at that, you can click here to view validation file. On this file, you can take a look at all the summary page totals, and more specifically, all the different error messages or warning messages that may come up. Again, this is where you can go back to the FEC website and actually take a look at the filing errors that they provide. If that doesn't answer your questions, you can always call our support line or call your account manager at Aristotle. Underneath, we have click here to view your file in PDF format. This is very handy. You can print a PDF of the report. You can go ahead and search the report if you want to and scroll through and make sure everything looks correct. One point we recommend is that if this is the report that you're going to be sending, let's say for a treasurer to review or to anybody else who has to approve the report, we recommend that you do not navigate away from this screen so that once the report gets approved and you hit File Now, the report that you generated here is the same report that you're going to be filing. If for whatever reason you have to navigate away from this page, we recommend regenerating the report, re-verifying the PDF, and then filing from this page. When you're ready to file, click File Now. Your committee ID will be pre-populated. Your password is not. We do not provide that for security reasons. You'll type in your password. Your email and or fax number for confirmation. And then hit Upload FEC File to go directly to the FEC. If you're filing early, you're likely to get a very quick message via email or fax saying it's filed successfully. During heavily filing times, it's important to know it can take up to 5 to 10 minutes to get a confirmation. So if you see the screen, there's a marker kind of circling saying that's processing. It's best to let the program do what it's doing and then come back later and make sure that that got filed. Now, once you have generated the report, there are a couple specific things you want to look for to make sure that everything came out correctly. Firstly, when you're going through the report, you want to make sure that all of the committee information pulled correctly, the schedule is checked off correctly, as well as the reporting period. You'll want to make sure that the signature of treasurer is filled in, and that all the summary numbers are correct. A surefire sign to see if the filing or the report generated correctly is to look at your line 8, your cash on hand at the close of the period. Normally you want to make sure that your column A and your column B numbers match on line 8. If it comes into a situation where one figure is actually greater than the other, what we recommend is going back and regenerating the previous report that you filed. That could be your May monthly, it could be your last quarterly report, or it could be your year-end. And what you're going to do there is rerun the report and make sure those numbers match what you filed on the FEC website. And again, you can simply go back to your summary page, take a look at these numbers, compare them to what you just generated, and make sure they match. Other numbers to look for are your itemized and unitemized transactions. Even though we do provide the auto-generate function, it's important to take a look and just make sure that everything maths out correctly. Another point to look for, specifically for disbursements, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. It'll be in your Schedule B. Any committees that you've given to, you want to make sure that the candidate name pulled correctly, as well as office sought, state, and district. If by some chance you're looking at the disbursements and something did not pull correctly, I'm going to show you how to fix that. I'm going to look up candidate for Congress. And we're going to pretend that when we generated the report, Eric Cantor didn't pull, his district information did not pull, and other relevant information did not pull to the report. The first thing you're going to want to check is that there's a registration ID present. If there isn't one present, you can always add one by clicking on New. On this screen, you're going to select FEC. You're going to put the C00 number under Reg ID as well as Filing ID. Hit Save and Close, at which point the committee will have its proper registration ID. If you're unsure about what the registration ID is, you can always go back to the FEC website and look for that C00 number on the page. Once you've confirmed that's there, you're going to want to take a look at committee staff. Right here you see that Eric Cantor has been named as a candidate for this committee. If by chance he's not there, you simply click on Add New Staff. You'll type in Eric Cantor, hit Select. It's going to search for Eric Cantor. You'll name him as the candidate, hit Close, and that is going to link Eric Cantor to Candidate for Congress. A last important thing to look for is to make sure that your committee type is correct. So here we have Candidate for Congress, we have a candidate committee. But if this were a leadership PAC, for example, you'd want to go ahead and change this to simply PAC PAC. After you've made those changes, let's say you rerun the report and the district information still isn't pulling, you're going to want to go ahead and look up Eric Cantor himself. Click on the legislative record. Once the record's loaded, you're going to want to click on District Information and verify that the district information is correct. If by chance you load the legislator and there's no district information, you're going to want to go ahead and click on Add District. Select whether it's a federal, local, state house. You'll select the relevant state. And select the relevant district. At that point, when you rerun the report, Candidate for Congress should be pulling the correct district information, legislative information, and any other information needs to pull for the legislator. Now going through, there might also be some situations where a transaction is actually not pulling correctly to the report. Maybe it's pulling to the wrong line. In that case, we actually offer a knowledge base entry from our website. This can be accessed from within the system at any time by going to Help, Online Knowledge Base. As you can see, we have this for the Form 3 as well as the Form 3X. And you'll be able to go through and take a look for each disbursement type, and each subtype that pulls to specific lines in the FEC report. This goes for receipts as well as disbursements. So at this point, what I'd like to do is actually open up to any specific questions. So if you go ahead and type those in. There's a question asking the difference between the Form 3 and the Form 3X. In this situation, if you want to run the Form 3, it's the same process. You would simply be doing reporting, compliance reports, Form 3. The interface is exactly the same for the Form 3X. Just has fewer options for form information and different schedules to select. Any additional questions I can answer on using Airstall 360 to file your July quarterly, monthly, semi-annual report? All right, well, thanks everybody for taking the time to review with us. Again, if you have any additional questions, you can go ahead and call our support number, 800-243-4401, or contact your Airstall account manager for further information. I appreciate everybody's time today. Actually, we do have a question that came up. Does Airstall 360 take the place of the software we usually download from the FEC? Absolutely. So what 360 does is it allows you to go ahead and use our software package as opposed to having to run the FEC file software that the FEC provides. in general, if you're a PAC, you're going to be filing the Form 3X. If you're a campaign committee, you're going to be filing the Form 3.